What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a beautiful day so far today. Today, I come to you with a new episode, episode 37, and unlike the past several episodes I've been doing that have been 10 days each, this one is going to be 15. Basically, my last episode was quite short. This episode would have been just about as short, maybe slightly longer. I'm really not entirely sure, but it's not really the content you guys have been expecting, and I don't want to be tossing out like 10, 15-minute episodes when I've also been doing like 25, 30-minute episodes, which have a lot more great content in them that I would assume you guys enjoy slightly more just because it's much more climactic instead of going through 15 minutes of boring levels. You know, I'm able to show you guys more awesome progress at once, which is, I would think, much more exciting, and that's what I hope to do for you guys. The only downside to that is that it takes me longer to put out an episode. Now, while that is a clear downside, that is actually kind of a benefit, an indirect benefit for me, just in that I'm already very busy. So, like, if I upload fewer episodes but better episodes, that's just a win-win for pretty much everybody. Again, the only downside is that you guys have to wait a little bit longer. Regardless, of that is a sacrifice that we were going to have to make sooner or later anyway. Again, that being said, let's jump into this episode, day 216 through 230. So starting off with level 88 defense, pretty cool to make solid progress there, progress toward that 90s cape. Really nothing too special about it other than the fact that it is just solid progress in general. I mean, I guess slightly tankier. Really nothing special about it. You'll see in this clip especially, well, in a lot of these clips I was home for spring break, which means that I had really bad internet. That's one of the reasons I can't record over spring break. So not only bad ping, but I've had bad FPS for a while as well, so I'm kind of sorry if some of these clips are extra mediocre because of that, but what are you going to do? After finishing that assignment, though, and turning in my Slayer contract, got to level 88 strength, solid progress there as well, keeping those melee stats pretty well-rounded. Always feels good. 2 levels away from waterfall fishing, because you do need 90 strength to be able to get up to the waterfall, so really cool to be making progress and getting closer toward that as well. I did end the day a while after that, though, at 2457 total level and less than 400k away from 200 mil. Really, really cool to be hitting that milestone. Not an important one by any means. It doesn't mean anything special, but it is still cool. It will look really great, and I am very excited about it. Now, on day 217, I spent a bunch of time working on getting parts to make augmenters and also getting healthy components, because with healthy components, you can break those, or not break down the components, but you can use the components to get the efficiency perk in gizmos. Kind of very tedious. Because through a lot of the gizmos I also wound up with the committed perk, which is when you're always skulled when you have that item equipped, but it really wasn't that big of a deal just because I'm never really going to be using these in the wilderness anyway, so I wasn't too fussed about that. Was still not really ideal just in terms of convenience. I don't really want to have a skull over my face, you know, it's kind of a pain in the ass. Other than that, though, I did wind up augmenting my bandos top and bottom, subjugation top and bottom, and armadillo top and bottom, as well as also I did have my chaotic staff still augmented. I'm going to continue just using black salamanders for range just because I can't see a reason to use anything else. I mean, they're like less than 10k each, and they still disassemble at tier 70 value. There's really no reason to, in my opinion anyway, to expand past that. And when I disassemble them at level 10 anyway, I will still get the efficiency perk back and be able to use that on the next salamander. And if you don't know, what the efficiency perk does is it makes it so that as your weapon or armor that has that perk levels up, it uses less divine charge, which is always great. There's really no two ways about it. Being able to save money on divine charge will just be so good for this account. I did also augment my attuned crystal halberd. I haven't really used it that much just because it's like 5 divine charge per second drain rate. I don't know why it's that much because that's pretty obscene. So after I realized how expensive that would be to use, I've just gone back to using Balmungs as far as melee augmented gear goes. It's still really cool to keep everything augmented like this. I was going to be coming up on, I don't know if I was already 60 or not in this clip. I was not. I was 58. You do need level 60 to be able to level past 10 in things, but I figured at my next disassemble, or maybe 2, I would be at that point anyway. So being able to augment my stuff sooner and start leveling that up so that way when I did unlock the ability to level past 10, I would already have the gear augmented and started, and could just start siphoning it at 12. And, you know, this is gear I'm going to be using throughout all of my Slayer, any sort of God Wars dungeon I do anyway, so I figure there's really no reason to put this off, and it will just help me train Invention that much more easily and that much more passively, and I'll just get so much of a better head start with it. Decided to use some of that gear at Dark Beasts, though. Got a 97 Grimy Toristal drop, which was kind of exciting. 434k. Not a bad drop by any means. I thought it was worthy enough of a spot in the episode. I was pretty excited about that. Always good to get a solid, really good real drop table drop instead of just flax. Now, completing this task was my 100th task in a row, which meant I got an extra 300 points from Morbran, which is just so good. It's so great to get such a solid boost in Slayer points, because there are so many things I want to spend those Slayer points on, and it's not even canceling tasks. As you can see, went to Morbran to get a new task immediately, and I did fully upgrade my Slayer Helm, and I'll be getting the most DPS out of the Slayer Helm that I can, and the best effect from it while on a Slayer task. I figured this would be the most efficient thing to unlock first for the most part, just because the sooner I get this unlocked, the faster I can complete Slayer tasks and the faster I can get Slayer points to buy other things. That was my reasoning behind it. I feel like it's good reasoning. I did definitely not commit fully to that. I did buy the ability to make Slayer rings at one point, but that's just because Slayer rings are number 1, really good for Invention, and number 2, just really good in general. I love using them for hunting clue scrolls and just for moving around conveniently in general. Did end of the day a while later, 2457 total level still, but 200.7 million XP. Feels good, man. About a 1 mil XP day. Let's move on to the next day. Began the day working at Heffen Voice of Saren, got to level 93 agility, which is always great. Feels great to make such solid progress in such a slow and tedious skill. Over the past couple days, I've been kind of slacking on my Voice of Saren in Heaven, just because I've been doing more AFK things, but I do definitely intend on getting back here. Did get around 900k XP on this day, 2458 total level and 201.6 mil XP, but nothing else important enough for a clip, so let's move on to day 219. Began this day with level 92 farming, always fantastic to get a farming level, only 2 levels away from being able to use my Crystal Tree Seed, which will be an awesome extra 15k farming XP every single day. Will be great to be able to start using that. Have not quite gotten there yet, but we will get there soon enough. Doesn't unlock anything at level 92, but again, always fantastic to be making steady progress. Went on to get level 95 fishing from a Divine Daily location. Kind of a shame to already be at 95 when I haven't even been able to take advantage of the waterfall yet. It makes me feel like my early fishing I did on this account, where I grinded up toward 93 at Barbarian fishing, was kind of a waste. Maybe I should have stopped around 91 or something, and then slowly gotten up toward 93 just through my weekly Strange Rocks. But, you know, what are you going to do? Not a really big deal, I don't think. And getting such a high fishing level at such an early stage in the game did give me a really solid boost in agility. Training low-level agility was horrible, so I guess all in all, it does kind of even out. End of the day a while after that at 2460 total level, 202.4 million XP. Let's move on to day 220, see what we do. Began the day working on my aviancy task, got level 89 defense, 128 combat. 200 plus combat is very gone. 128 combat though, cool to be making steady progress there as well. Nothing special from this, but still cool levels nonetheless. Went to do a Dark Beast task after that when I only had 4 kills left. My crystal staff that I had left over, other than the other stuff that I had augmented before, did get to level 10, so very cool to line that up with the end of my task pretty closely. Disassembling that did get me the level 60 I was talking about earlier in this episode. Really the only important thing with level 60 is that you can level up your items to level 15. You don't really have much purpose to go to level 15 because you get the maximum XP from disassembling at 10 and the maximum XP from siphoning at 12. Only reason I can think of you would want something at 15 is if you had a perk on your weapon that scaled to level and it was a weapon that you wanted to just strictly use for PVM or something. It wasn't something you were using to train Invention with. I can't think of anything that's actually that good that you would do that with it yet. Jagex has been kind of I want to say lenient on the perks they release. I think they're being very careful. They don't want to introduce something that's incredibly overpowered, and so by trying to keep everything balanced, it's just been very underpowered. But regardless, maybe that'll change in the future. Very cool to hit 60. All skills above 60 at this point in general, just a great level to hit. Decided to work on some dwarf traders after that. I'm not sure if I needed a strange rock or if I just wanted to train thieving in general, but I did get to level 90, which is nice. It means I don't technically have to use an Abyssal Lurker to boost here at Dwarf Traders anymore. I still think I'm going to for at least a while anyway, just because their fail rate is so high. I want to try and negate as much of that as possible, and of course having a higher thieving level, even if it is a boosted thieving level, will help with that. So 90 in general thieving, very solid level to hit. Nothing super special about it because I could already boost for Dwarf Traders in the first place. Did go on to get level 91 after that though, which is cool. Means I can pickpocket Iowith workers without needing to boost, but again, I don't think I'm really going to do a whole lot of pickpocketing in Elf City without any sort of boost, because if I want to be training at Elf City, I'm going to be wanting to do more than just a few clans, or even just one or two. I would want to have at least 4 to 5 accessible. And even with that, I feel like if I'm training in the Elf City, it's going to be because I want to AFK. Because if I don't want to AFK, I would just come to Dwarf Traders. It's so much faster XP, it's so much more efficient in general. There's no reason to do Elf City unless I want to AFK, and because I'm so motivated on this account to max as soon as possible, I'm trying to max out my efficiency. Probably going to avoid most all Elf City pickpocketing unless I really want to just AFK for a clue scroll or something. Again, still really cool to hit this level, but not really anything monumental. End of the day a little while after that at 2465 total level, 205.1 million XP. Let's check out day 221. Began the day with my Jack of Trades getting me level 94 agility. As you can see, I've been grinding that Voice of Saren, or at least I was back then. Definitely need to get back on it now. Always feels good to get a solid agility level. That much less agility, you have to do it in the future. Such a painful skill, and I definitely do not regret in any way putting my free XP into agility. Went to Harp's AFK to level 98 after that. As I've been saying a bunch of times, being a full-time college student, I definitely have many days that I need to just AFK something, because I can't put any sort of real attention toward RuneScape, and Harps has been something that I've been doing with that. I know Harps aren't really efficient in most any way, I don't think. I'm sure there are a billion better things I could be doing, but most all of them aren't really something I can not AFK. They aren't something I can AFK, and I want to be able to AFK, so it's definitely better doing something I can AFK and getting 50 to 80k XP per hour than just not doing anything at all. So that's been my logic. At this point, though, I'm going to kind of try and ease up on the Harps for a while anyway, just because I'm at a stage where I want to slowly get that up to 99 while I work on Strange Rocks. I don't like training things past 99 for Strange Rocks. I've been experiencing a lot of tediousness in terms of needing to do that for Hunter now. Really don't like how that feels, so again, I mean, crafting probably won't be nearly as bad as doing that with something like Hunter, but still something that I don't really want to get a whole bunch of XP past 99 when I don't need it, when my goal is to max as fast as possible. Ended the day shortly after that at 2467 total level, 205 point, almost 6 mil XP. Not a whole lot of XP gained on this day, but as I've been saying, have been quite busy needing to AFK. Let's ignore that for a minute and move on to day 222. Now, I began this day gearing to go to the Abyss. This is something I was kind of scared of just because I'm terrified of getting PK'd and losing my gear. Granted, I wasn't risking a lot, but at the same time I kind of was. While I am only risking bandos, it's also risking the augments, it's risking all of the disassembles it took to get those efficiency 2 perks, which was a lot. It did cost a lot, and I kind of hope a lot that it pays for itself in time. I'm assuming that it will, but it did definitely cost several mil. Which did suck, but again, I just really didn't want to lose the stuff, so I'm terrified of running through the wilderness in it. Did make it into the Abyss safely, though. Did want to train Strength just because that's been so short of 90 for so long, and this is around the time that you were able to start augmenting your rods and your hatchets and things like that, and I wanted to be able to take advantage of that. I wanted to be able to start actually fishing at the waterfall. So I came here, I started working on that, I got to level 89, which is really cool. Did not quite get to 90 before my crystal halberd that I brought got to level 10, and I was able to disassemble it. Disassembling it did get me to level 61 invention. Not really at all a big jump, and also doesn't unlock anything special, but it is still cool to be making solid progress. Still feels good when every disassemble will still get me a level. Don't know how much longer that's going to continue, but it has still been nice to take advantage of for now. Went on to finish off my 90 strength at Abyssal Demons, working on the Slayer task. Always great to be making solid progress through Slayer. I don't like the Abyss just because I feel like it's more efficient to be training combat through Slayer, and it feels kind of slimy when I'm not 99 Slayer and I'm training combat at other places. Granted, I do kind of do Hellhounds somewhat often for clue scrolls. Maybe I shouldn't do that as much, but you know, I have to give myself a pass there. Did go on to get to 94 HP after that. Great progress in general there. Getting close to that 99. Again, it's hit points, doesn't unlock anything special, but still great progress. After that, I did go to the Invention Guild. I made a Rod-O-Matic, and I gave it the perks Honed 4 and Furnace 2. Basically, I had some leftover sharp components, and I got quite lucky in using those to make gizmos, because you'll see in probably the next episode, probably won't even be this one, that I struggled really, really hard to get that good of a honed perk when I finally got around to augmenting my hatchet, so was great to actually get this. And when I do disassemble this Rod-O-Matic at level 10, hopefully I will be at a place where I have enough urchin points to unlock crystal rods, and I can start doing those instead, and I will get both of these gizmos back, and I can just keep recycling them through all of the rods that I make and disassemble and train fishing with. So really, really cool to unlock this ability, be able to start training fishing in the most efficient way possible as a skill in fishing, because I can finally access the waterfall with that 90 strength, and I can also be training Invention at the same time. So this is like, in 16 different ways, really, really great. Coincidentally enough, in building the hidey hole so I could climb up the waterfall easier in the future, got to level 92 construction. Not anything special, really. I'm not going to unlock anything that I consider to be special until 99 as far as construction goes. You know, every level really does unlock something for the most part, but it's not going to really give me an important training method milestone. So while it's cool, it's not really special. 330k fishing XP later, I did end the day, 2472 total levels, some great levels gained on this day. You'll look at rune metrics, you see 2.3 million XP on this day. Feels good, man. Almost 208 mil XP total for the day. Not total for the day, total on the account at the end of the day. Anyway, moving on to day 223. Now, it wouldn't be a good episode if I didn't miss a clip because Bandicam wasn't working well with it, so I did get level 10 Rod-O-Matic. I did disassemble that, got to level 62 Invention, but as per most Invention levels, doesn't really unlock anything, and I can't think of anything important I'm going to unlock between now and like 90-ish. So, you know, now that I've unlocked being able to get things to level 12 and siphon them, that's going to be pretty much my best way of training most things. Maybe disassembling some cheaper gear at level 10. Of course, disassembling Rod-O-Matics, disassembling crystal rods. I've pretty much peaked in terms of what I can do for Invention until I can, you know, do things like getting the Professor title, getting my pogo stick, and getting the skill cape. I'm pretty much done in terms of interesting unlocks for this skill. Did go on to get another level 10 Rod-O-Matic, which is pretty cool. Disassembling that got me to level 64 Invention. This is actually somewhat nice of a level. I know it kind of goes against everything I just said, but it does unlock things like charge drain reduction, maximum charge improvement, and junk chance reduction. So again, these aren't important milestones, but they do help. And of course, anytime I unlock these things, I'm going to be researching them, unlocking them, just kind of making Invention more efficient of a skill. But again, not important, magnificent milestones in any way, to say the least. After that, I did finally have the urchin points to unlock the ability to make crystal fishing rods. I'm 99% certain that I'm just going to be augmenting these and disassembling them. Tool seeds are relatively cheap. They're less than 600k or something, and I have no problem using up, what is it, 150, I think it's 150 Harmony Dust and a tool seed to make a new one, plus, you know, of course, the money to get the components for augmenters, but I think all in all, it's just better in terms of the amount of Invention XP I will get per fishing XP. Of course, better Invention XP per hour. Even if you take into account the time it takes to get the components, I'm still pretty sure it's going to be better. And all in all, it's just not really very expensive at all. I mean, if you consider it would be maybe 300k max for a siphon for probably 250, 300k XP. talking about 1-to-1 at that point. Disassembling it would cost, well, of course, need to buy a new seed, around 500, 600K. I'm getting 470K-ish, something like that, plus, of course, money for augments. It does cost a little bit more, of course, but I think the amount of time I would save definitely outweighs that, and I think that this is by far the best decision. Went on to get 96 fishing after that. Does unlock barehanded shark fishing, now something I'm really interested in doing ever. I do think it's a requirement for a task set, though, so it is cool to get that in some way or another. Another level 10 rod, some more invention XP. Got myself to level 65 with this one, which is really cool. As you can see, still quite close to 66. At a point where, as I said earlier, I get enough invention XP for each disassemble that it does still put me very well within reach to get the next level with each disassemble. Does still feel good to still be within that range. Nothing at all unlocked getting 65 invention, but it is still cool. That was the end of the day at 2477 total level, 210.8 million XP. Let's check out day 224. Began the day getting level 90 divination, really cool. Another level 90 skill, one less skill for that 90s cape. Does, of course, unlock the tier 90 divination area, which is always very cool. Not a fun place to get to, but of course it is going to be better XP per hour should I ever need to AFK divination. Not really the best way to train divination. Obviously, I should be doing way more cash. I've been incredibly bad about that, and I feel guilty down inside for not doing more cash, but at the same time, I don't regret it enough to change that just because of how much I hate cash. I know I should. I'm just so bad about it. End of the day quite a while after that at 211.6 million XP, 2478 total level. As you might notice, I am on NXT. This is when the NXT weekend started. Of course, I'm going to take advantage of that because NXT looks beautiful. Unfortunately, there is kind of a glitch in the Slayer Tower. If you look toward the top left-ish of the screen, you'll see the soul split of someone who is on the roof. Kind of unfortunate. You can also kind of see sunshine and effects like that if people use those. But of course, Jagex does have to work out the bugs. I sent in a report. Hopefully that will help them. And hopefully when NXT actually does come out, it will be beautiful. Began day 225 getting level 92 Slayer. Pretty cool. This unlocks Erets. Erets are, of course, very good XP per hour. They're not really fun to kill, in my opinion, especially because I don't have good gear for them. If I ever get a task, of course I'm going to do them. It's just going to be a little bit painful, I think. Not a whole lot of special milestones on this day either, ending at 2479 total level and 212.6 million XP. This is where the episode would have ended normally, but as you can tell, it's been pretty anticlimactic for the most part, and I think I'm going to give you an extra 5 days, so let's check those out. Now, day 226 was when the Easter event came out, so of course I needed to hit Sasuke's Chocolate Factory, get that done. Not really just because I thought it was a great event or had really special rewards for the year, really just because I get 5 more Gothixian butterflies per day. Being the XP whore that I am, I needed those. It's going to be around 47k runecrafting XP every day with that, and that's so good because I know you can get good runecrafting XP per hour through the Abyss, and I probably will do that at some point, but I just hate the Abyss. It's just so click intensive, you know, and I'm such an AFK style player, and if I was to go through RuneSpan, that would just take so damn long, and I really want to cut down on that as much as I can, so I've been very careful to keep runecrafting at one of my lower skills, so that Tears of Guthix and things like these Gothixian butterflies are guaranteed to go into it. Now, this was also when the Crater event, whatever you want to call it, in preparation for God Wars Dungeon 2, was completed. So in turning in all of these XP lamps and prismatic stars, I put them all in agility, and as you can see, I got a crazy amount. I'm just going to estimate around 250k straight XP, maybe it's 230, and about the same in bonus XP, and that is just so much XP. And honestly, if I'm doing agility during Voice of Saren, I probably get around 100k XP per hour, maybe a little bit less if I'm not clicking as well as I should be. This basically means that this has saved me straight 5 hours of Voice of Saren, which is so good. After that, I did finally go on to complete the lore portion of God Wars Dungeon 2, getting this done, getting my free tele tabs. Not really anything special, but it is a milestone. It is a mini quest sort of thing completed. Thought it was worthy of documenting. Very cool to get this done as well. Working on another Bandos task, still am quite a bit short of having enough Reaper points for a Hydrix, but it is still very good progress. I am still pretty close. I think I'm only 2-ish tasks away at this point, so that's really, really good. After that, we did get a Bando's Gloves drop. Definitely not what you're looking for. It is still definitely better than a Rune Pickaxe, though, so I'll still take it. In the end, the instance was around 1.5 mil for each of us, which is nice. Not a bad instance. I say this for literally every instance, oh yeah, it could have been better, but it wasn't bad. It's definitely worth my time. I'm happy to do it. Same thing goes for this one. Catching some Gothixian butterflies got me to level 87 rune crafting, still really cool. It is still definitely considerably lower than most of my other skills. Only thing it's not considerably lower than is invention, which of course these free XP butterflies aren't going to go into it, which is great. I think my only other skill that's below 90 is invention at this point, so I definitely have a big, big gap there to fill up with these butterflies before they start getting in the way of something else, and I think by that time they won't even be in the game anymore. Now, I don't throw a whole lot of clue scroll clips into my episodes just because I don't really get anything good. I do love doing clue scrolls, but I just don't get good loot for the most part. However, in this one I got a Fury T. Very exciting to get a trimmed Fury. Side note, if you guys are interested in seeing more clue scroll caskets, please comment below telling me. I have a bunch of clips of over 100 more caskets that I've recorded that I just haven't compiled and uploaded because I don't really know if people are interested in that, and I want to focus my energy into this series primarily. But of course, I do have the clips. It wouldn't be too hard for me to compile them and put them out as an episode. So if that's something that you do really want to see, let me know and I will upload another Clue Scroll compilation. Again, please comment and tell me, otherwise I probably just won't do it. I did end of the day a while after that, though, at 2480 total level, 214.5 million XP. We were finally starting to get up there. It is feeling great. Let's check out the next day. Began day 227 with another Dark Beast task. Did get level 90 defense, which is pretty cool. Unlocks a bunch of stuff, of course, because it's a level 90 skill, but I don't see anything in this list that I really see myself going out of my way to use. Maybe I'll keepsake Ember Keen boots at some point, but other than that, most of this just doesn't really mean a lot to me. Decided to finally, after so long, go back to the Living Rock Caverns and do some superheat form. Got level 92 smithing and level 92 mining. Very great progress. I need to find the time and the motivation to just camp the fuck out of this because it's such good XP. It's a solid 200k plus XP per hour. And like, that's not bad at all, considering what's being trained. The only problem is that when it's split up between two skills, it's so long to actually get the levels that it's very demotivating, but I know it's going to be the best way to train both of these things, so I'm very torn and divided about it in wanting to actually train, but feeling like I'm not going to get levels if I do, and I'm just going to waste all my time. I know I need to, and I will find that motivation in time, but for the most part, I just have other things pulling me in other ways. Did end of the day at 2483 total level, 100k short of 216 million XP. Let's check out the next day, see how it goes. Now on this day, I finally did another death assignment. I don't like doing barrows, but I will do it if I'm given the assignment and I wasn't given anything better first. Did complete that death assignment, which gave me finally enough Reaper points for my first Hydrix. Very, very exciting. A free 28-ish mil, 26, 28 mil, something along those lines, maybe 25. We'll see it in a future clip, but finally getting that big reward, making all of this tedious PVM feel worth it is just so, so good, and I am super, super stoked about it as well. Now, initially I had popped this into the Grand Exchange, and immediately after I thought to myself, you know what, I have some spare cash, maybe I should instant buy a Hydrix so that I know what their high-end price is for the margin, and to try and sell them both around that price. That way I make as much as I can on my fresh incomplete Hydrix, and I sell the other one for a few K loss, something very, very minimal. Coincidentally enough, the instant buy price was only like 9k above what I had planned on selling it for anyway, which is kind of tilting. I was kind of pissed that I didn't actually get something out of thinking to do that, but regardless, did get almost 26 mil from that Hydrix, which is very, very exciting. We'll definitely try to keep doing Reaper assignments and get more of them, but it will be a very, very long time until I get another 300 points. During Amulet Voice of Saren, I went on to get to level 91 summoning. Pretty cool progress there as well. Nothing special about it, but it is still solid progress nonetheless. Had a bunch of granite left over that I had bought very cheap during bonus XP weekend. I intend to use that until I can get to around 96. Only issue is that I'm super low on Crimson Charm, so it's going to be a very, very long time until I'm actually there. Ending the day at 2484 total level and 217 million XP. Let's move on to day 229. Began this day with 93 farming. Again, only one level away from that Crystal Tree Blossom, which will be super exciting. But, you know, it is farming, so it's going to be a long time until I actually do get all of that XP. AFKing a bunch of ivy. I know ivy isn't great for woodcutting, really, in any way. If I had a choice, I would have definitely been crystallizing teaks, but I've just been so busy that that wasn't really an option, so I AFK'd ivy pretty much the whole day. You'll see in the chat my augmented crystal hatchet is level 10. I did augment my hatchet. I put in Furnace 2 and Honed 3. Couldn't get the Honed 4. Basically, Furnace gives me the chance of using up a resource I would get. Like, for example, if I was cutting teaks, or I'm trying to think of something where, like, that, I don't think that works with Crystallize. And I don't think it would work with Ivy either, because you're not given a resource. But it basically, it consumes the resource you would have gotten and gives you double XP for what that drop would have been. And Honed, the Honed perk gives you an increased chance of a success rate as you're using whatever it is and as it levels up. For example, if you're using, if you're wood cutting, you have X amount of % chance that you'll actually cut whatever it is and get the XP drop. That increases that RNG, so you get more XP per hour. So it is good to have these perks, it's good to get this level. Would not like to be doing Ivy, but you do what you've got to do. Did end the day on 2486 total level and just about 217.9 million XP. Let's check out the final day of this episode, day 230, see what it do. First of all, Water Fiends gave me 92 ranged and 129 combat. Very solid progress there. Almost at that 130 mark, but still quite a ways off, all things considered, but it's still really cool to be getting progress in general. In combat, this will just help me to get more XP per hour through having better accuracy, better hits and everything, and it'll help me in dungeoneering and stuff like that as well. A level 10 Black Salamander disassemble got me to level 66 invention. Pretty cool, but you know, like most invention levels, doesn't unlock anything, but again, still very cool to be making solid progress here nonetheless. I missed the clip, but I did get level 95 agility from my Jack of Trades, which is very, very cool. Only 4 levels left, but those are going to be a very, very long 4 levels. That was the end of the day and the end of the episode at 2489 total level and 219 million XP. We have some great progress in this episode. Most significantly, I would think, getting into augmenting all of my gear and making progress with that, and also the Hydrix. I think those were the most important things by far in this episode. And of course, the Hydrix wouldn't have happened had I not extended the episode another 5 days, and the extra 10 minutes of this episode wouldn't have happened that way either. Hope you have enjoyed this extended episode. Likely, I will probably continue with these 15-day episodes just because I feel like I'll probably continue to get the same amount of clips per day. If that does change and I do somehow increase the amount of clips I get per day just because I wind up doing more progress, or I do a whole bunch of quests or something like that, I'll probably cut it down because I don't want my episodes to be too much longer than this. I feel like this is a pretty good range. This one actually turned out to be longer than I expected it to be just because I talk way too much. That's why I talk fast. Anyway, again, sorry for rambling. Have a beautiful day. Stay happy. Hope you have enjoyed the episode, and I will see you next time because I will return and I will rebuild. I will.